Hey everybody, back with another blog. It's Saturday, October 15th. So just want to give people some updates on what's going on. As you know, I'm in maintenance mode now. Made my weight loss goal a couple weeks ago. Um, had my blood work done. I'm still waiting for all the results to come back, but my A1C is now normal. It's 5.6. It was 6.8 in January. It was 5.8 in April, and now it's 5.6. So 5.6 and under is normal. That doesn't mean I don't have diabetes anymore. It just means that it's under control, and now the goal is to kind of keep it 5.6, maybe try to get it under that if possible. But all the any complications from the diabetes that I have is now under control, and now I want to keep it there. My cholesterol, I don't know what my total number is. I'm still waiting for everything to come back, but the LDL went up slightly, went from 101 to 110. You like that number to be under 100. But my good cholesterol, my HDL, went up from 41, no, from 40 to 51. And that's probably from the exercise. So once I get all my numbers back, I'll give you guys an update. All my other functions are normal for the most part. So things are good. Doctor was pleased with my results. He just said to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll just go back for my physical in February. Um, Now, the maintenance part is so important. So we talked about my last blog about keeping that balance. So Stephanie and I went to California last weekend. We were celebrating our TT and uncle's 40th wedding anniversary. So congratulations to them. Um, and we had a good time. But you can eat out and stuff, and you're on a plane and you're snacking on things. And long story short, I gained 4 pounds in a week, and I didn't realize that I gained that much. I knew I gained something. If I had to guess before I weighed myself, I would have thought maybe like two and a half at most. Hard to really tell because my clothes weren't fitting tight or anything. It wasn't anything like that. But I was 186.6 the Tuesday before, and this past Tuesday I was 172.6. Now, that 4 pounds isn't like fat. That some of it's water weight, some of it's, you know, just, back up from maybe not going to the bathroom enough, whatever it is. You're holding on to water weight. And when you go out to eat, it's hard to count calories. It's hard to count a lot of stuff because they put stuff in the food that you don't put in your own food. But the bottom line is that's why you have a scale. So this week I semi boot camped it. I really limited my carbs. I barely had any carbs this week for the most part in terms of like breads and potatoes. I did have bread once, no, twice this week. But I ran already 3 times, no, twice this week. I ran yesterday and I did 6.72 miles. And I ran today 5.5 miles. So I got a little back to back. And I also ran 4 miles on Wednesday. So I had 3 runs, and I'll do another run on Monday. So I'm getting my runs in. It's getting a lot easier now. Um, it's the mental part now in terms of that. But the main thing is you want to keep that balance, and that's what it's all about. So overall, things are good. You just got to kind of push through. When you want to have things, just try to not give in to every craving you're having. The funny thing, when I was in California, the hotel had like a little snack thing, and I bought Cheez-Its for some reason. I never really eat Cheez-Its anymore. Like that's something I haven't had that in, I can't remember. But the funny thing is, when I was having them, I noticed that I kept wanting more of them. So it's just a reminder. You have to know what your triggers are. Like some people aren't carb sensitive like that, but a lot of people are. So just monitor what you eat and notice what things you tend to want more of after you eat them. I promise you, it's going to be either something with sugar in it or something that's carb heavy. Now, Cheez Its, I mean, it's not the best snack. It's not the worst thing to eat. But I just noticed that I wasn't satisfied after I ate them. So it just goes to tell you that sometimes you'll overeat, not realizing you're mindlessly eating. And I now when I think back, I was like, I think I did that. And it's not that you're like beating yourself up or slapping yourself on the wrist, but you need to be aware of these things because I think it gets people in trouble. It's why I think people have trouble when they lose weight, then they put it back on because they fall back into other habits. So you just have to be aware. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about, oh my God, I messed up. It's just information. You want to process the information. There's nothing wrong with having things once in a while, but most people aren't honest about that. And they say, oh, you're just going to have a little bit, but they don't go back. So when you have a little bit, then you have to go back to how you kind of should eat. But a lot of people don't. They start having treats and then they say, oh, I'm going to have another treat. And if they really kept track of how many treats they were having, they were probably having 3, 4, 5 treats in a week. That's not a treat. That's your diet. If you're eating something 3, 4, 5 times in a week, that's part of your normal diet. So a treat should really be once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week. If you're doing it often, then it's not a treat. It's part of your diet. So you have to be honest about what you're eating. I don't keep a food journal, but I am aware of what I'm eating, and I'm like now when I think about why I gained 4 pounds, I'm like I was eating stuff I normally don't eat, but I'm gonna lose it because I'm getting myself back on track. I eat like I normally eat, and we'll see what the scale says. Now, I don't expect to lose all 4 in a week, but you don't want to do that. A little bit here, a little bit there, and I'm still relatively where I need to be anyway. But you know, if you're not careful, 4 pounds a week, that's 12 pounds in less than a month. And if you're not careful, you'll gain 10 pounds in less than 3 or 4 weeks, and you're saying, how did it happen? And then your clothes aren't. Then you not start noticing your clothes aren't fitting. So, we did have a meeting last night, and we talked about stress management. Um, and I think it was great because stress is something that's in everybody's life, and it's one of the main triggers for overeating and not maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Oftentimes we say we can't have time to exercise, or we're too tired, or we don't feel like it, and some of that is due to the stress in our lives. Um, we all can make time to build in healthy lifestyles, but you have to be committed to it. And like I said, it has to go back to being honest. You have to be honest about what are the things that are stressing you, what are the stressors, what do you do when you're stressed out. And in our meeting, everyone put down eat, stress eat, because we all do it. I mean, even when we're happy, sometimes we eat, and that's not stress, but that's still an emotional response. You're not eating because of hunger, you're eating because you're excited or you're happy or you're bored or whatever it is. So there's like these 5 A's with stress management. One is avoid unnecessary stress. So avoid, alter the situation, adapt to the stressor, accept the things you can't change, which I think is one of the hardest, and adopt a healthy lifestyle. So I'll talk briefly about each of these, and then think about what are the stresses in your life, and then what can you do to address them. So avoid unnecessary stress. Some strategies are learn to say no, and that can be a hard one, especially in your professional life. Sometimes we might be asked to take on things that are too much, and you have to learn how to say no. Avoid people who stress you out. Now, that could be tough if the people that stress you out are people you live with. So that could be dicey. But if the people that you don't have to deal with on a regular basis, maybe you need to like evaluate who you're hanging out with. Take control of your environment. That's about, make if TV or news makes you anxious, turn it off. Stop watching the news. Avoid hot button topics. So politics, uh, that's a big one. Sometimes if you're going over to your in-laws' house or you're going to a friend's house, and they're on one side of the issue, maybe you don't have those discussions. If they bring it up, say, let's agree to disagree and let's talk about something else. And tell people, look, I don't want to talk about it. It stresses me out. Can we talk about something else? I think you have to just confront people with it. Sometimes you can't dance around the issue. And then to-do list. Pare down your to-do list. If you have a lot of things on your list, prioritize what's important, and then figure out what can be tabled for another time. Alter the situation. So express feelings instead of letting them boil up. Boil up. I think that's a good one. Sometimes we let things get to the point where we explode and we don't, and then people are like, "Where is this coming from?" Sometimes you need to just express your feelings upfrontly. Be willing to compromise. That's a big one in marriages and relationships. Be assertive. Sometimes you have to be more assertive if you got to take more of a proactive action toward things. Manage your time better, and maybe you're wasting too much time on your phone and you're doing other things that are not adding value to your life. I'm not saying that you can't be on your phone and play games, but maybe look at how much time you're doing that, and maybe some of that time could be devoted toward exercise and other things. Adapt to the stressor. So reframe problems. Try to look at it from a more positive perspective. Look at the big picture. I have to do this a lot when it comes to my health. Like sometimes you look at the numbers and you start getting stressed out and you say, wait a minute, what's the big picture here? Overall, I'm healthy. There's things I could do better. So don't stress over like little things. Just keep working on what you're doing. Adjust your standards. Maybe you're setting the bar too high and the goals are not attainable. So, like when I first started running, I started to set smaller goals and then work up. Instead of saying, I want to run a half marathon. You're going to get there eventually, but you have to work up to it. Focus on the positive. You know, try to look at the positive side of things. Now, accept the things you can't change. I'm going to save that one for the end. Let's go to adopt a healthy lifestyle. So, exercise regularly, even if it's 15 minutes a day, walking, jogging, yoga, stretching. Just do something active. Even if it's walking up and down the steps in your house. 15 minutes exercise a day, 15 minutes a day will make a difference in your cardiovascular health. It'll lower your A1C. It will keep things under control that normally, like even like your cholesterol levels, all of that. Just keep moving, and the more you move, the easier it gets, especially when you get older. When you get past like 40s and 50s and 60s, you want to keep moving, because when you stop moving and then you start up again, it sucks, man. Because then you're out of shape and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. So got to keep moving. Eat a healthy diet. Um, Focus on lots of vegetables. Fruits are good, but like I said, they have sugar in it. So if you're diabetic, you have to kind of watch those in moderation. But generally, you know, portion. You got to portion your stuff out. You know, that's the key thing. But lots of lean meats, veggies. If you don't eat meat and you're just a vegetarian, then beans and veggies. But you want to have more vegetables in your diet. Salads are good. Reduce caffeine and sugar. I love iced tea, and I sweeten it with stevia, but I've had to watch my caffeine because I noticed my blood pressure was going up a little bit. And I started drinking more water, and it started to come down. So you just have to be mindful of that. And the sugar, you definitely watch the sugar, because the sugars really cause a lot of problems. So definitely keep that in moderation. Try to avoid alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. Definitely with the cigarettes, if you can avoid that at all costs. And alcohol, you want to consume it in small amounts. If you are a drinker, I don't drink, so it's not really a big thing for me. But if you do drink, just have it in moderation. Uh, you know, Try to limit. You don't want to be having a drink every day. But if you have social events, that's fine. But just try to keep it under control, and then make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's really important, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Sleep and your diet are like the top two after exercise. I mean, well, actually, no, diet is first, and I would say sleep is up there with exercise. So if you notice you're exercising and you're not losing weight and you change your diet, maybe you have to get more sleep, and that'll also help with your blood pressure. And now we get to the accept the things you can't change, and that's a big one because oftentimes we're trying to change situations that we can't. So don't try to control the uncontrollable. You have to look at what things are under your control and which things are not. Look for the upside. As they say, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. When you face major challenges, try to look at them as opportunities for personal growth. Share your feelings. talk to a friend, make an appointment with a therapist if you need to. Be very careful not to use your friends and loved ones as your therapist. So if you really need to talk to someone, find a professional, because you don't want to blur those lines between like your spouse and your friend, and then now you're talking to them like they're a therapist. But I think it's good to be open with people that you love and trust, because they can give you insight. And learn to forgive. You have to learn to forgive the people in your life, because everyone makes mistakes. Um, sometimes we look at our past and our childhood and we think about things that didn't go right and how we were impacted by that, and maybe the people in your life might have done cause harm. At the end of the day, we still are the masters of our life. I go to God with a lot of things. God is, I really feel like God is guiding me along the way. But if you're not a spiritual, religious person, you still need to understand that the choices you make determine your destiny. So forgive the people that have wronged you, so that you can live a better life, because holding on to anger and bitterness just keeps you from moving forward. Forgiving people is not about them, it's more about you. It's to help you move on with your life so that you can be happy and free also. And I think my weight loss journey was really about forgiving myself and realizing that, okay, I messed up, even though I had people trying to help me, and I fought them. You have to learn to forgive yourself, because if you don't, you won't really get to that next level you're trying to get to. So um, try to have fun and relax too. Like I said, go for a walk, spend time in nature, call a good friend that you haven't spoke to in a while. Have a good workout, write in a journal. Have a cup of coffee or tea once in a while. Play with a pet. Treat yourself to things too. Like I said, I'm not anti like, oh, you can't have this, you can't have that. I don't believe in being the food police. That doesn't work. My point is, make sure you're aware of what you're eating, and that the things that are treats, maintain them as treats. Do not make them part of your regular diet. But enjoy the treats when you have them, and savor them, and then get back to what you're doing. Um, Light scented candles in your house, incense, take long baths, showers. I like to go for long drives. Go to a comedy show, go watch a movie, get a massage. Find things that bring joy to your life. Find things that bring that peace and calm, so that you can take on the stresses in your life effectively. So, hope this was helpful. I know this was a longer blog, but always welcome your comments, always welcome your suggestions, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care now. Bye.